take your hand off her waist right now, or I will walk right over and kiss you in front of all these people." With a blush on his cheeks, Raj withdrew his hand. "Why does she need to stand so close to you, tugging on your sleeve like that? Tell her she's not a 9-year-old. Raj slowly inched away from her on the pretext of talking to someone else. "Raj, I can't take this anymore. I'm going home. And you are coming over in 30 minutes. Raj turned around to search for her in the crowd of the party and caught her sexy, dusky, bare back leaving the party. The way her hips swayed, he was sure that she knew he was watching. This felt like the night 3 years ago when he had first met her. It was an office party, and she was swaying on the music just the way she was doing tonight. He remembers trying hard to divert his eyes at first, but it was beyond his control. Soon he was staring at her with open admiration and lust. She caught his glance and moved her body suggestively, and soon she was walking towards him. Big, black, slightly drunk eyes, long hair falling over her heart-shaped pretty face, dimpled smile and a pretty little nose. He felt his palms sweating a bit. Not knowing what he was going to say to her, he nervously turned around to pick up his glass and gulped down all the whiskey in it. When he turned back, he saw that the dusky beauty that he had been admiring for so long was talking to his best friend, Rahul. Raj felt a little foolish. It crossed his mind that maybe she was looking at Rahul all the while and not him. So to keep his male ego safe, he ignored her and walked over to the dance floor and started dancing with another office colleague. He was quite drunk by now, and so within few minutes, when he realized that the dusky beauty Sonia, the name that she later whispered close into his ears, that she was dancing deliberately close to him. So he moved in even closer. The next few hours, it felt like they were just the two of them on the dance floor, dancing close and closer. Until she had suddenly moved away from his arms and walked out of that place without looking back, just the way she left today. She was a natural seductress. But today she had a reason for leaving this way. Raj was here with his wife. Soon Raj made some excuse that a friend is in need and requested his best friend Rahul to drop Priya back home, and he left to meet Sonia. Priya, Raj's wife. Priya never asked questions. In his marriage of 5 years, he has been seeing Sonia regularly for 3 years. But never once did he have to answer awkward questions like, "Where were you? Why are you late? Why you ignore me? Why don't we make love anymore, Raj?" No. Priya was not like that. Priya was a dream wife material. She was docile, sweet, homely. Her husband was her entire world. Every single day, Raj gets his breakfast right on time. His clothes are ironed and kept ready with his shoes before he finishes his shower. Tiffin is ready on time, dinner on time. She even waits by the door till his car disappears at the turn around the house. Not one day in the last 5 years has Priya diverted from this routine of hers. Raj had nothing to complain about. And that was exactly the problem. She was too sweet, too perfect, loyal, traditional, and so loving that it completely put him off. You would wonder, why did he even continue the marriage? Well, it was the classic parent chose the girl, arranged marriage, can't do anything, can't hurt anyone scenario. Raj did all his duties as the man of the house. He fulfilled all her material needs and played the perfect husband role in front of the society. But within him, he craved for imperfection. He craved the impulsive, wild, unpredictable. And Sonia came into his life to fill this void. He never meant to hurt Priya, but he could not help allowing himself the pure thrill and happiness that Sonia made him experience. Sonia's eyes were always alive, either brimming with happiness or tears or adventure, but they were never dull. They were restless even in sleep. Raj loved watching her sleep like a baby. And when she woke up and saw him looking at her like that, she used to pull him towards her and kiss him like no one ever had kissed him before. Raj and Sonia even spent a lot of time together in office. But her ability to completely focus on the task at hand, oblivious to him, made her even more desirable to him. But she even knew exactly when she should drop in some naughty message to keep him wanting her more and more. She was smart, had the ability to hold conversation on almost every topic, and also had an appetite for sports. He did not know whether he was in love with her or not, but she was all that he ever wanted. She came into his life and changed him completely. Priya had easily accepted the inexpressive, unemotional, and cold nature of Raj. Whereas Sonia, she pushed him to express and caressed his emotions and warmed him up. Priya won everyone's heart in the family and friends. But Sonia didn't care what others thought about her. Priya remained the same Priya that he had met 5 years back all throughout, while Sonia surprised him every now and then with different side of her personality. Priya belonged to him, but he didn't feel like possessing her, whereas Sonia, the more he possessed, the more he desired her. Raj wasn't a bad person. He felt bad for his lawfully wedded wife. In fact, he would take her out for dinner, buy her a random gift or just a bunch of flowers sometimes. It was easy to please her, and he did put in an effort. In fact, Priya too tried to bridge the gap between them in her own subtle ways. Like on one Friday evening, when Raj came home, he should have been pleasantly surprised to find Priya glowing in a bright red sari. Her beautiful ornaments and the vermilion that colored her hair parting, any man would have fallen prey to that serenity. But it failed to move Raj at all. He kissed her on her forehead and said, "I'm very tired," and went to sleep. Being the kind of woman Priya was, she did not pull him towards her or did not demand to be loved. But maybe that would have worked. Anyways, the next morning, Raj was served with his favorite breakfast with tea for a fresh new day and a lovely weekend ahead, which ironically Raj spent with Sonia at her place on the pretext of office travel. There with Sonia, he cooked for her. He joked with her, he played and relaxed with her. And they could not take their hands off each other all the time. Theirs was a very passionate relationship. It was so hard to think that something so beautiful and natural can be wrong. But there were times when Raj strongly felt guilty. In the earlier days when he had started seeing Sonia, he had to confide into his best friend and colleague Rahul so that he could back him up anytime Priya asked him about Raj's whereabouts. But the issue was that Rahul kept reminding Raj of the repercussions of his actions time and again. Rahul tried hard to persuade Raj to give up on Sonia and return back to Priya. He tried pointing out that Priya is extremely forgiving and she will accept him back and he can end this dual life, which will do no one any good. Every time Raj had these conversations, he felt guilty. But it was beyond his control to stay away from Sonia, and that nobody understood. Rahul even suggested that Raj should choose between Sonia and Priya. Get a divorce, damn it, he had said once. You won't understand, Rahul. No one can understand my dilemma. I don't want to hurt anyone, but if I divorce Priya, my parents would never forgive me. She was their choice. Besides, she's loyal and forgiving. She's happy with me, damn it. Why spoil all that? Reasoned Raj. After a while, Rahul had stopped interfering with this aspect of Raj's life. He helped him in covering Raj's lies as a best friend would do, but had given up on trying to put any sense into Raj's mind. That had started making Raj even more uncomfortable, because he knew what Rahul thought of this situation in his mind. And that made Raj more and more guilty day by day. The thought that though for him his marriage was long over, for Priya her marriage was everything, kept nudging him at the back of his head. And yesterday, after the office party when he left Priya alone to drive back home, he had seen a shadow of emotion in Priya's eyes. He couldn't recognize it, but it felt strongly accusing. Today morning when he woke up next to Sonia and watched her sleep, he remembered that look in Priya's eyes, and it disturbed him. He got up, went into the washroom and splashed cold water on his face. When he looked back into the mirror, Sonia was standing behind him with a naughty grin, and she pressed herself to his back and started kissing him. Raj could not respond. He kept staring into the mirror. His hatred for himself and guilt stared back at him. He saw a man cheating on his innocent wife. He saw a coward, a cheat. He saw someone he had never seen before. He saw the person Rahul had been trying to make him see. He saw Raj. Raj, who was married to Priya but was making love to Sonia, while Priya waited for him back at home dutifully, silently. He felt disgust for himself. That very moment, he decided to confess the truth to Priya and ask for her forgiveness. He loves Sonia. He knows he loves her, but he has to forget all about her. He can't be selfish. He has to go back to his wife. He has to go back to his marriage. While he drove towards his house, he allowed his heart to think about Sonia for one last time. His eyes tried to focus on the road as he drove home, but he let his mind wander into the memories of the wonderful time that he had spent with Sonia. Every day, every moment that he had met her over the last 3 years, his heart had melted. It melted drop by drop, forming a new mold of attraction, attachment, and respect. This new heart was brimmed with her thoughts. Her very name had become the reason that made him smile. He could visualize her eyes, her lips, her nose, and even the tiny mole over her neck with his eyes closed. He could smell her hair even when she was not around. He could hear her voice without speaking. She had started to mean the world to him. He had never got bored in her company, and if he ever did, she pulled him towards her, put his head on her lap, and she used to say, "Go to sleep." And when he woke up, she would sometimes be ready with a chocolate cake, sometimes with a movie, sometimes with a candlelight dinner, but always something new to entertain him. Even Priya was a brilliant cook, which his friends couldn't stop praising for. But Raj loved the aroma only of Sonia's cooking. He loved how sometimes in the middle of the night she would just wake up, make coffee, wake him up and say, "Let's have a conversation." And the next thing he knew, it would already be morning. He loved the way they watched cricket together and how she cheered for India. He used to look at her and thank God for bringing her into his life. He loved her for all the unconventional choices she made. He loved her impulsive planning. For instance, just a few days ago, she declared, "We are going to Bombay." And why? To watch the match, of course. A year ago, she had sent him a text middle of the night. "Andaman? Question mark. Why?" he asked. "Snorkeling, scuba diving, water skipping, and a lot of sex, of course." The next thing they had done was taken a leave and took off. She did what her heart told her to do that very moment. She didn't think of the future or repercussions. Did he do a mistake of ending with her, he wondered? But now it was too late. He knew he had no choice. This was his reality and he has to be a man enough to stick to it. He had to choose the paleness of Priya over the colors of Sonia because that's the right thing to do. Still thinking about Sonia, he entered the driveway of his house. As he reached the front of his house, his trance was broken. With all these thoughts, he stopped his car in front of his house, gathered his thought and stepped out of it. That's when something caught his attention. Their pet dog, Frodo, was sitting on the porch. That meant that Priya was taking her afternoon nap. He realized that in the last 5 years, not once has he come home so early. His heart went out for Priya, thinking how patient she had remained all these years. Now, she definitely deserves true happiness. He knew he was doing the right thing. With the intention of surprising her and not waking her up, Raj walked to the back door of the house, avoiding Frodo, who would have happily barked and jumped on seeing Raj. As he opened the door with the key he had, there was a strange sense of determination in his heart and mind. They were working together for a change. His head was pounding as a motley of thoughts just kept messing up his composure. But the decision was made. He will plead forgiveness from his sweet wife and will start afresh and not look back. He tiptoed his way into the house. Something caught his attention as he was seeing it for the first time. It was a photograph from their honeymoon. Priya had framed it in such a beautiful frame. Standing side by side, her left arm below his shoulder and hair scattered by the wind, looking towards her husband and smiling shyly. He was looking into her eyes with love. Priya was real in the photograph, but Raj was fake. The thought tugged at his heart and he felt the urge to hold Priya in a tight embrace and say sorry. He walked with a sudden urgency towards the bedroom. The door of their bedroom was ajar. He stood there quiet for a while and finally absorbed what he saw and took a wobbly step behind. There she was, his saintly loyal wife, sleeping like a child in the arms of his best friend Rahul. In his own house, he felt like an outsider. Today, Priya was not the other woman in his life. Today, he was the other man in hers. The man inside his bedroom with his wife in his house was not his best friend, but he was her man. Raj wasn't. Raj felt devastated, nauseated and cheated. Devastated at what life had made of him and what he had made of Priya, and what Rahul had made of their friendship. Nauseated because that was his best friend and his wife sleeping in his bed. And cheated. But hold on. Why cheated? Was there really any difference today between him and Priya, between Priya and Sonia, between Sonia and Rahul, or between Rahul and him? But then why Rahul? His best friend? And why Priya? What did he think of her and what she did? But then, isn't he himself responsible for all this? Now he had no choice. Or probably he did. Probably he was finally granted the best choice that he ever wanted. The choice that he wanted to make in the first place. A choice that could keep everyone happy. Slowly, walking back towards the back door, Raj left. With each step that he took towards his car, his frown turned into a smile.